Is the world dying? Where will we go? Is life on another planet possible? One day life on Earth will end, and it won't be the first time.
Why have living things disappeared 5 times? We don't realize we've lost. In the past, our world experienced great extinctions, 5 great extinctions. After these 5 great extinctions, we can say that the 6th great extinction has begun. What are the 5 great extinctions? 5 times our world has seriously lost life.
What caused the previous extinctions?
So what happened 5 times when life disappeared? And how did it come back?
One day life on Earth will end, and it won't be the first time. What caused the previous extinctions? After 4.5 billion years of life on Earth, is it coming to an end? According to science, how many years does our planet have left to live? According to NASA, in how many years will the world end? If the Earth is no longer suitable for life, is life on another planet possible? Which planets offer hope for the survival of life? What are the risks that could bring about the end of humanity? Where will we go when that day comes? If catastrophic scenarios occur, do we have a chance of survival? Today we will examine the fate of our home, our world, in the light of scientific data. Just as all good things come to an end, life on Earth will come to an end. Scientific data and predictions make this clear. Science fiction novels and films have long dealt with this subject. Armageddon, The Book of Eli, Snowpiercer, Waterworld, The Day After Tomorrow are just some of the films about the end of the world. So, films aside, after how many years will life on Earth come to an end? What does science tell us? As frightening as it may sound, this is not the first time that major extinctions have occurred. We go to Professor Dr. Hussein Ozturk to find out the answer to these questions.
5 great extinctions occurred about 450 million years ago, 340 million, 250 million, 210 million, and 65 million years ago. In terms of geologic time, 1 in the Ordovician, 1 in the late Devonian, 1 in the late Permian, 1 in the late Triassic, 1 in the late Cretaceous.
The Mayans predicted the end of the world in 2012. Fortunately, this date turned out to be wrong, but we now have much more than predictions about the end of life on Earth. In fact, scientific research reveals many different scenarios for how life on Earth will end. It is difficult to predict which will come true, but one thing is certain: life on this planet will end one day. Our big, old, and beautiful Earth is 4,540,000,000 years old, according to scientific data obtained by geologists. We, anatomically modern humans, have been on this land for only 200,000 years. So what happened in the remaining 4,539,800,000 years? Evolution began with microbial organisms formed by bacteria and archaea, and continued with the formation of the atmosphere 3.5 billion years ago. The first organisms to use oxygen in their metabolism appeared 1.85 billion years ago. 450 million years ago, the first land plants appeared. About 300 million years ago, dinosaurs became the sole rulers of the world. This may seem a long time in terms of human life, but when you look at the history of the planets, it is not even a grain of sand on the beach. Nevertheless, it is more than enough to show how difficult it is to create life.
Of course, this doesn't happen in a short period of time. This extinction process takes between 2 and 5 million years, but it takes 5 to 10 million years to recover from this destruction. But we can always say that our nature has been restored over time.
Contrary to popular belief, dinosaurs are not the only creatures we have lost.
Bu kadar
We don't realize that we are losing creatures that are not very media friendly. The creatures we see today are only 1% of what we saw in the past. It's actually a miracle.
Aslında bu bir mucize.
We know that dinosaurs were killed by meteors, but what caused other extinctions?
Büyük volkan patlamaları.
Major volcanic eruptions are the main cause of major extinctions. Now the climate is changing, there is no single cause.
Bu iklim değişikliği.
These eruptions cause climate change. A volcano rains acids, it causes dust and gases, it causes cold weather. So it changes all the living conditions. But then there are other problems that affect the climate. There is massive melting of glaciers. When the glaciers melt, a thin layer of light fresh water covers the oceans. In other words, a thin layer of fresh water covers the seawater. The fresh water does not mix with the salt water underneath. Because the fresh water is light, it stays on top of the waves. It cannot mix with the water underneath. When it doesn't mix with the salt water, oxygen doesn't get to the bottom. When there is no oxygen at the bottom, mass death begins. This is an example of an extinction event.
Gitmeyince de kitlesel ölümler başlıyor. Bir tanesi bu.
But is our world at such risk today?
Geçmişte olan
What happened in the past can happen today. In other words, just as mass extinctions happened in the past, whatever the reasons were, they can happen today.
neden olmuşsa bugün de olabilir.